Good Thursday, Anona family and friends. Glad to have you today for our devotion. Have you ever failed at something and felt bad? Maybe really bad or even devastated. I think if we're all honest, we can all admit to some failures in our lives. Some pretty bad, but some worse than others. But maybe the worst part is when our fear of failure paralyzes us to the point that we fail to accomplish something we should have done. And as we continue our study of Unafraid, living with courage and hope in uncertain times, I want to look today at what failure can teach us. And the Bible is full of stories of imperfect people. They have failed at things, and yet God has a way of using them for greater good. Even Jesus' disciples failed. Now let's look at Matthew 26, and these are some verses about Peter before that famous part where Jesus is arrested. And Jesus is talking to his disciples about what is coming. And in 26:31, then Jesus said to his disciples, "Tonight you will all fall away because of me." Peter replied, "If everyone else stumbles because of you, I'll never stumble." Jesus said to him, "I assure you that before the rooster crows tonight, you will deny me 3 times." Peter said, "Even if I must die alongside you, I won't deny you." All of the disciples said the same thing. Well, we know what happened. Jesus was arrested and taken away, and sure enough, Peter ends up denying Jesus. You can read the rest of the story, all found in chapter 26 of Matthew. Of course, Peter felt terrible. The scripture says Peter went out and cried uncontrollably. He had failed to follow through with the words he had said to Jesus. He had failed to do that which he said he wouldn't do. Now that doesn't sound like someone that acted heroically. And yet the New Testament portrays Peter as one of the greatest disciples. He is their leader. He preaches powerfully and becomes the head of the church. I can imagine Peter used this very failure to grow in faith and courage, and he probably repeated this story throughout his travels throughout the Roman Empire to encourage others that even in their failures, denials, and misgivings, if Jesus could forgive and restore and use Peter to build the church, then there was hope for them. Have you ever denied Christ? Kept your faith under wraps for fear of being associated as a do-gooder Christian? Maybe you didn't speak up when you saw or heard something that was wrong, afraid of the cost of actually making a stand. Maybe you have treated people in a way that is inconsistent with your faith as a Christian, or pursued things that are a denial of your faith. We've all been like Simon Peter. But the good news is, God can still use us to grow his kingdom. I bet if you look back, you can see where some of your biggest failures were the very thing that helped you grow in your faith, and your character became stronger because you learned from your failure. It can actually be these failures that become our most compelling witness to the grace, to the mercy, and to the love of God. I hope you have a great weekend. I hope to see you in worship this Sunday. Bye-bye.